Welcome here to WSJP. We apologize we got on here very late. A lot of technical difficulties here on WSJP. St. Joseph's Prep currently tied with Newman-Goretti as we speak. It is 0-0. Pat Veza just struck out for St. Joe's Prep, and it will bring up Chris Graasso to the plate. Graasso currently pitching today. He had 2 strikeouts in the inning as Neumann-Goretti in the top of the first. Gianluca Laspada on the mound for Neumann-Goretti here today. And for today's broadcast, I'm Ryan Sullivan, joined by Sam Salamone. Sam, how we doing?
Doing good. I'm just excited to get here. A lot of people out here today. Yeah, I'm just excited.
Yeah, a lot going on here on WSJP. And another strike called to Graasso. The count is 0-2. Neumann-Goretti trying to end the inning. Laspada fires as Graasso swings and misses on that one. He strikes out. Laspada matches Graasso, strikes 2 out in the inning, and we go to the top of the second. We'll take a break on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. We once again apologize for the technical difficulties here on WSJP. Score is still 2-0. Or sorry, 2-0. I don't know what I'm talking about. Score is currently 0-0 still here at FDR Park. Chris Graasso still on the mound for St. Joe's Prep. Next pitch off. It'll be a ball.
Well, as we were, figuring stuff out here, Chris has racked up 3 strikeouts and 4 batters, which is incredible.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Graasso has been great here today. Next pitch will be hit into left field. It will get down for a base hit. Neumann-Goretti gets their first base runner of today's game.
Now, if I'm Graasso, I'm looking to throw something low and away. I am looking to, certainly for a rollover double play, preferably a 5-4-3.
We'll see if he can get that. Pellegrino is now on for Neumann-Goretti. First pitch from Graasso. Off speed, called for a strike.
Good pitch by Graasso. Like I said, working him away, breaking ball. That'll certainly make him roll over.
Graasso looks back Pellegrino over at first. He's going to steal down to second, but it's going to be a foul.
Man, if he didn't foul that off, Pellegrino had that base stolen. He would have 100% been safe.
Yeah, you're probably right, Sam. He probably would have been safe as Graasso tries to prepare for another strikeout. It's currently 0-2. Graasso looks him back over at first once again as he fires. Off speed, got him looking. Chris Graasso gets another strikeout. That one on Nick DiGiacomo. And Sam, Chris Graasso this season, he has been absolutely incredible, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you've already seen it. 3 strikeouts through 6 hitters. Had a similar game earlier in the year against Bonner, and that game was incredible.
Yeah, no doubt.
Prep took that one very handily. I'm hoping for a similar outcome today.
And we will see. Newman-Goretti, as I mentioned, getting the first base runner of the game, even between both teams. The Hawks, they did go 1-2-3. in the first inning. That was Iannicone, Graasso, and Veza, as there will be a throw down to second. And he will be safe, Pellegrino. He gets a stolen base.
That was a beautiful jump. I mean, if that throw is a bit more online, that was 100%.
Yeah, Richie Cray, the current batter for Newman-Goretti, a .238 average and 29 plate appearances this season. Graasso looks back at second. There are 2 outs in the inning. He fires off speed, puts it in there for a strike.
Graasso using off speed early. Everybody knows about his fastball, but do they know about his off speed?
Yeah, Graasso this season, he has been solid with the off speed. Continues to use it. Off speed again, Cray, a bit of a check swing, but very inside, called for a ball. Graasso this season, we didn't get much of a chance to talk about his stats coming into this season. Graasso, while he has given up 5 runs this season, and he also has 29 strikeouts on the year, he has been dominant on the mound, that being in 15 innings pitched. Another ball on the outside, 2-1. Now, per Dr. Rupertus, Chris Graasso got his 100th career strikeout in the last batter, so that's something noteworthy. And only in 3 years here at St. Joe's Prep, Chris Graasso gets Richie Cray looking, and that will send Newman-Goretti back to the dugout and the Hawks back onto the field. They lead 1-0. I mean, Sam, let's talk about it. We have not had really any chance to talk. I once again apologize here on WSJP for the technical difficulties. There might be some relaying over currently, but we'll try to keep that fixed, or keep getting that fixed as we go. You know, Graasso out there on the mound. It's been him and Mira to Rupertus for the most part, and the Hawks here today looking to shut down Newman-Goretti, trying to keep this winning streak going.
Well, Newman-Goretti, a shocking loss to Lansdale Catholic just 2 days ago. I mean, when I saw that on my phone, I was like, there is no way that is the real score. It was 9-6, Lansdale Catholic. But, you know, Newman's come to play already. Newman, they've beat LaSalle. LaSalle, top 3 team in the PCL. You know, Newman, like I said, they're coming to play today.
Yeah, it's also a packed house here at FDR Park. I mean, Newman-Goretti, they probably had to drive less than the Prep did to this game.
Yeah.
10 minutes. It took us about almost 30 with the traffic and everything, so they really didn't even need to, get out of school early or anything like that. They were ready to go. But it'll be Will Ward coming to the plate for St. Joe's Prep, and Ward, arguably the Hawks' best hitter this season. He has been absolutely dominant with a .429 average and 39 plate appearances, 8 runs, 12 hits, and he has batted in 9 runs, which leads the Hawks.
Leads the Hawks in home runs, too.
Yeah.
Outside of the park.
Excuse me.
There have been many inside the parkers, but
that is true.
Ward has the only outside the park. That was at LaSalle U versus Roman Catholic.
And that was a college stadium, too.
Yeah, I know.
Will Ward also hit a home run at this stadium, or not stadium, field, I guess I should say, here at FDR Park. Hit one last year against Roman Catholic. Hawks winning that game. Also got a win over Roman earlier this season. The Hawks did fall to Newman-Goretti last year on a walk-off balk, which is something you don't see every day, but Will Ward trying to get the Hawks on base here to get them out to an early lead. He takes the first pitch for a ball. And as I mentioned, Laspada on the mound for Newman-Goretti, as we had some technical difficulties. A 1.75 ERA in 4 appearances this season. Next pitch to Ward on the outside corner, called for a strike.
I mean, that was kind of identical to the pitch beforehand. Maybe a little bit off the plate, but great job, frame job by the catcher.
Cerrone back there for Newman-Goretti today. Good framing once again from him, but called for another ball. It's 2-1 to Will Ward. Ward this season has played well in pretty much everything. Has 8 walks this year as well, so he's been able to get on base in that department as he softly hits this one to second base. Fielded cleanly by Cray. Never mind, it's actually not fielded cleanly over there, and it will be an infield hit for Will Ward.
Looks like that one went right between his hand and his glove. A very high bouncing ball for hit by Ward.
I actually do apologize. It's actually DiGiacomo who is at second base today for Newman-Goretti. But the Hawks, they get their first base runner of the game with Will Ward. That'll bring up Jack Keenan. Keenan, we know him as a fellow South Philly guy. So he's playing against the school that's just a few minutes away from him. But obviously taking the bat here for St. Joe's Prep. Spada fires. Nice framing and another strike call. That one on the top corner. Keenan steps out of the batter's box, not necessarily liking it. Spada looks Ward back over at first. Keenan showing bunt, and it's going to be a good one there to third base. And it's bobbled near the mound. Jack Keenan on with a bunt single, and the Hawks have a man in scoring position.
The Hawks getting on base early. If I'm Newman-Goretti, I would have wanted to avoided that.
No doubt about it. Danny Matthews coming to the plate for St. Joe's Prep. 9 games played, a .333 average, and 24 plate appearances with 5 hits. Danny Matthews trying to drive in the first run of the game, that being Will Ward. First baseman Ryan Coleman playing on the grass.
He's far up.
Yeah, he is very far up. He could possibly be watching out for a sacrifice bunt. The Hawks currently with no outs. So that sacrifice bunt, especially with Will Ward not being one of the fastest guys on the team, definitely could help, as he will show bunt. He does go around, called for a strike.
You know, that's high and away is not the pitch to bunt on. So I think he was just bunting just to bunt, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure, but he did go around. Oh, and 1 to Matthews. Throw back to second, and it will go to center field. Ward, he's going to hold it second. And everyone will stay where they are. Newman-Goretti, a couple of errors, if you will, in the infield here today. You know, against an undefeated team like St. Joe's Prep, that's in the PCL specifically. That's just mistakes you don't want to make.
Yeah, the Prep is top 10 team in the state. Barely lost to Germantown Academy, who is probably the best in the state.
Coleman's about halfway down the line.
He's almost in the batter's box, Ryan.
As this one is on the outside corner, again called for a strike.
I mean, if Matthew swings the bat, he's gonna hit Coleman with the bat.
He might. Coleman backs up to the turf, or I'm sorry, to the dirt, as there is 2 strikes in the at-bat. It's 0-2. Coleman moving a bit in, just standing in front of Jack Keenan in the 0-2. That one on the outside. Newman-Goretti's side, they wanted that call. They do not get it. Danny Matthews trying to get back into this count. Emilio Iannicone, we know we didn't have the at-bat here on WSJP, but he was able to make LaSpada pitch a lot, and the Hawks maybe trying to do that here today. We saw them do that against Conwell Egan. Chris Coleman and I, who's our producer today, he was on the call for that one. He'll tell you. LaSpada steps off the mound. But, yeah, they'll tell you that the Hawks, they were making Conwell Egan pitch, and we'll see if Danny Matthews can do that here today. LaSpada once again steps off the mound. Not necessarily sure what's going on with him.
Don't know. Maybe coach is switching calls in the dugout. You see the catcher also looking back.
LaSpada looking back at first over at Keenan. Here's the pitch. That one in the dirt. Cerrone throws off his mask. Everyone stays at their respective bases. It's now 2-2 to Danny Matthews.
Cerrone is having trouble with his mask. It's kind of just resting on the top of his helmet. It's supposed to really just strap on and stay in there. It is resting on top of his helmet. So that could be something to look out for today. He, like you said, he threw that thing off.
Matthews trying to get back in this count. It's 2-2 after starting 0-2. Here's the pitch as he swings and hits this one into left field. And the play will be made for the out. Everybody stays where they are. There's 1 out in the inning. But solid contact from Danny Matthews.
I mean, that could have been, I mean, if you had a different guy on second base, they were probably tagged up and gone to third. But, you know, Will Ward, as you said, not the fastest guy on the squad. Also not the ideal position, hit to left field. You know, maybe if it was pulled a little bit, they might have made Ward tag. But nonetheless, it's 2 outs in the inning. 1 out in the inning, excuse me.
Sittler up to the plate for the Hawks as he hits this one on the first pitch. It looks like it's going to go out of play, and it will. Sittler, a .304 average this season in 26 plate appearances. 5 runs scored across. He did strike out a couple of times against Archbishop Carroll.
Sittler kind of struggling. Missed first few parts of the season, and yeah, he's just been struggling a lot this year. Normally, don't see him batting 7th in the lineup. That's not really a good sign if you're a Johnny Sittler fan.
Well, Sam, you were right about Cerrone and his mask. It doesn't seem like he can get that under control. It falls off of him once again. I'm not necessarily sure what's going on there, but definitely something you don't want a problem to be as you move forward in this game. Time called by Sittler at the plate.
I think the helmet that Cerrone has on is too small.
Maybe.
For the strap.
Fellow catcher yourself, you would know.
I'm not a catcher.
Oh, I thought you were. Wait, why?
It's all right.
Who told me you were who's the catcher? Sittler takes that one for a strike. He does not like that one at all. It will be 1-2. It was a bit inside. Cerrone also had to jump to his left to get that one.
Was it Connaughton who is a catcher?
No, Connaughton played first base. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of myself. I have no idea.
I'm a middle infielder myself. Right?
Okay. See that. Spotted. He momentarily stepped off the mound, back in it. The Hawks have a man in scoring position with 2 outs. With no outs. They definitely don't want 2 outs. Sittler holds back on that one. Gutsy look. It's 2-2.
That one just missed. If I'm Espana, I'm probably, a bit raging right now that was not a strike. That one just under the knees to Sittler.
Well, hopefully for him, he is not too rattled. 2-2 to Sittler. Cerrone jumps out to his right. And he will step off the mound again. It's been a lot this inning where Laspada has stepped off the mound and has made the prep wait.
It hasn't really been working for him. If you're, guys went out to Matthews, but that was on a swing. Hasn't struck anybody out yet this inning.
Now Sittler steps out of the batter's box. Laspada not going out of his stance. Sittler's batted 4 runs in this season, trying to drive in Will Ward. It will be the first run of the game for St. Joe's Prep. Here's the 2-2. That one way inside. Gets out of Cerrone's glove. Full count.
No, it'd be great if Sittler would work a walk here. And up next, in the batting circle on deck, is David Locker playing second base today. I normally don't see him play second base.
Right.
He's normally behind the plate, but he swung it so well against GA. I guess Coach Muth just put him in there since he's swinging it so well.
A lot going on behind the plate with Cerrone and his catchers here. Now he's got to fix his leg. I mean, he's going through it. But we'll see if he can call a good pitch on the full count. Here it is. Sittler takes it high, ball 4. Bases are now loaded with 1 out as David Locker comes to the plate. High pressure situation for David Locker, Sam. He's only played in 3 games this season. He's had 9 total plate appearances. Does have 4 hits in those 9 total plate appearances with 3 RBIs. Started against the Hill School. We were at that game, and now he gets probably his biggest opportunity of his young prep career to knock in a run or 2.
It wouldn't be great to hit a grand slam, though.
Oh, my goodness. Let's not jinx him. Goodness, Sam. He might get mad at you. First pitch to Locker off speed, up in the zone, called for a strike.
That was a perfect pitch by Espana there. I mean, if Locker fully extended his arms to the outside of the plate, that one is ripped opposite field down the line, maybe even into the gap. Maybe a bases clearing double.
Sittler dancing around on first. Not a big lead as Locker fouls this one off. It's a quick 0-2. We saw earlier in this inning, Danny Matthews able to get Laspada up in his pitch count in that specific at-bat. We saw Iannicone do it as well, as I mentioned a couple moments ago. Now David Locker trying to be the man to do that as well, or maybe he can knock a hit. Locker calling time, doesn't get it, as he chops this one too short. He will get out at first, but Will Ward will score. St. Joe's Prep have taken a 1-0 lead.
Beautiful piece of hitting by Locker. You know, like you said, wanted time, but was not called.
Blessing in disguise, I guess.
Yeah.
George Van Deen now hitting for St. Joe's Prep. Van Deen, you know, in my opinion, Sam, the best 9-hole hitter in the PCO.
I mean, he's got to be the most underrated player on the team.
There's got 100%.
Is that the hockey squad down there, Ryan?
Oh, we were, Sam, we did a lot of St. Joe's Prep hockey games. I see,
Yeah, that's Cole
I
Gargon.
see some South Philly guys here. Michael Castelli. Yeah, it's
Adam Trophy.
you know, it feels, this is our wheelhouse, Sam.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You know, this is our wheelhouse, you know, that we're always here at FDR Park for these games. I even see Robbie Andrews over there play basketball at for St. Joe's Prep this past winter. 0-1, though, to Van Deen. As Van Deen hits this one into center field. That's a good swing. It's not too deep into center, and the play will be made to end the inning. But St. Joe's Prep, they get their first run of the inning with bases loaded. We'll take a break on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. Back on WSJP, third inning action here of St. Joseph's Prep between Newman-Goretti. Off speed from Graasso to start to Ryan Coleman. It'll be called for a ball.
Hopefully Chris can get through this inning, throw a few more strikeouts.
Coleman check swings, call to the first base umpire. He says he did not go around. 2-0 to Coleman. Graasso delivers. Right down the plate, called for a strike. Graasso said to the umpire, well, you're not going to call my off-speed a strike. That fastball you'll call. Coleman, 8 games played this season, 235 average and 26 plate appearances.
Coleman, for being such a power hitter, batting very low in the lineup. You know, not too sure with his game. Have seen him a few times at SPST, but other than that, not familiar with his game.
And he is able to get on with a walk, so clear that he is definitely a calm hitter. As Valace will come up to the plate for Newman-Goretti. Now Coleman, he could definitely make a comparison to Will Ward in the sense that, you know, they're bigger guys. You might try and get that pickoff attempt.
Yeah, but I doubt Coleman's going to really take anything off,
That's fair.
off of first.
Well, Will Ward is going to somewhat hold him on. Not a big lead for Coleman over at first. Valace takes the first pitch for a ball in the dirt. He shakes his head. No, that's not a strike. Newman-Goretti, 1 total hit in 7 at-bats. That being the total at-bats, not including the 2 walks. Graasso Puts it on the off speed again. This time called for a strike. That one a bit up in the zone. But Graasso gets the call.
Valace stepped out of the box. Thought that one was about to hit him. Wow, that had crazy movement on it.
That definitely did. Graasso somewhat looking Coleman back over at first. Off speed again called for a strike. Valace batting .095 in 27 plate appearances. See if he can possibly advance Ryan Coleman in any way, shape, or form. Graasso giving him a stern look back over to first. As he deals. As this one is fouled off, Valace staying alive.
I was just about to mention that if Graasso keeps throwing that breaking ball, it is spinning away from Valace. And if Valace is early on it, he's going to pull it down the line. Anything else, he's going to hit it into the opposite field. So you can see Coach Muth over here telling David Locker at second base to move over just a little bit, play into the hole a little bit.
1-2. Check swing, didn't get him to go around. Newman-Goretti, a lot of check swings today, but they have been patient in not going around. Two and two to Valace. Graasso deals. Off speed, got him looking. Chris Graasso. That's his 6th of the game.
6 through 3 already is 2.1, excuse me.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Lenhart up for Newman-Goretti. We didn't commentate his first at-bat, but he is 0 for 1.
He's the only guy in the first inning that did not strike out.
This is true. Off speed again from Graasso on the slider. Lenhart not liking it. Called for a strike nonetheless.
These Newman-Goretti batters are absolutely buckling at the knees when they see this breaking ball coming, thinking it's coming inside, and it drops into the zone.
Fastball fouled back. Almost hit CJD Films down there, just behind home plate. CJ getting some film here today for St. Joe's Prep baseball. You know, CJ had a lot more baseball games this year. Love to see it.
Love to see it. The
Actually,
team loves it, too.
And lacrosse is playing Judge today. Normally see CJ at lacrosse. I mean, I know he's not tuning in right now, but maybe if he watches this back, CJ. I love to see it baseball, man. 0-2 to Lenhart. Graasso puts it a bit high on the off speed. 1-2. Coleman still off at first for Newman-Goretti. The 1-2 count over to Lenhart, and as Sam mentioned, he's the only guy to not strike out in his first at-bat in the 1-2-3 order, if you will. Graasso strikes him out this time, though, as that is 7 today for Chris Graasso.
Yeah, there are only 2 guys in the lineup that have not struck out against Graasso yet. That is Venor and Coleman, both with only 1 at-bat so far. If Chris Graasso strikes out the entire lineup, that would be
yeah, that'd be something.
Maybe his best outing ever. Maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. He got his 100 strikeout today. It looks like Cerrone might have went around, but infield umpire says he did not. A lot of check swings today for Newman-Goretti. Graasso here in his 3rd inning of work. His pitch count has been high in some games. He's somewhat kept it down, I would say, in this game. Don't know his total pitch count here on WSJP, but it's been solid.
Have to ask Cole Kuhn. He manages that.
Yeah, he does manage that. Check swing again on the outside, called for a ball.
Definitely thought that may have just caught the corner.
And Newman-Goretti not swinging at much today. Coach Muth coming out to talk to Iannico. I'm not sure if his glove broke.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that heat from Graasso making him getting a new glove. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he has a 3rd pair as well, because I don't think Graasso's going to slow anything down.
Locker's yelling at the dugout. I think it's his.
Oh yeah, probably. I guess you're right. Well, I hope Locker has a backup glove as well. Maybe, I don't know. Sam,
They got to. In this day and age,
Yeah,
Ryan, they
yeah.
got to.
Unfortunately, my catcher's glove from the 8th grade is at home, so I don't think that's coming out today.
And maybe you could drive over between innings.
I don't have a license. But you know what? Maybe Cole Kuhn can take me over. Shout out Cole Kuhn in the CRVZ. 2-0, though. To Cerrone. That one's in for a strike right down the plate.
thrown a quick strikeout in his first at-bat. Only 4 pitches in that one. Graasso's trying to strike him out again.
2-1 from Graasso. Coleman, as I mentioned, not a big lead off of first. That one on the outside, called for a ball again. Home plate umpire not really liking these outside pitches here today. But Cerrone, coming into this game, only 4 plate appearances, does have 1 hit off of that. Has walked this season as well. Actually, I apologize. He got on with a hit by pitch.
Might draw a walk in this one, 3-1.
Yeah, we'll see. Could possibly get his first of the season here as this one is hit to Graasso. He fields it cleanly, underhand the Ward. The play is made to end the top half of the inning. Chris Graasso lets a runner on, but Newman-Goretti cannot do anything with him. We go to the bottom of the third. Sam, you know, you mentioned it, and we don't want to jinx Chris Graasso here. The announcer's jinx is real, I can confirm. But this has the potential to be one of his best outings of his St. Joe's Prep career.
Yeah, already 7 strikeouts through 3. I mean, like I said, once I want him personally to strike out the whole lineup. That'd be a great accomplishment for him. But also this prep team needs to start, you know, hitting with runners in scoring position. Have not done that yet today. Hopefully they can, though.
Yeah, we'll see if they can. The Hawks coming up with their top of the lineup. That'll be Iannicone, Veza, and Graasso. Once again, we did not have those first at-bats on WSJP for you, but we will bring their second at-bats, and maybe all 3 of them can get a hit this go-around. We will see. We will definitely see. A hot day here at FDR Park, and honestly, Sam, I think that's kind of the reason for some of our technical difficulty struggles here on WSJP. We once again apologize for that in the first 2 innings, but we're back here, still trying to bring you the best coverage here on the home of St. Joseph's Prep baseball and pretty much every other sport.
88 degrees out, right?
That is insane. I mean,
hottest day so far.
None of us have our jackets on. I don't think I'm putting the jacket on for a possible post-game interview saying the Hawks get the win.
Oh, in class, I didn't have my jacket on, you know, almost the entirety.
Well, the thing with
the day.
The thing with the prep is, like, inside, they always have the air on. Like, it's always cold in there. Like, if you go in the summer, you kind of have to wear a hoodie because the air is, like, blasting. I mean, it's a big school.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. So, like, you kind of have to have a hoodie on or a jacket, like, most of the day. But you know what? I honestly enjoy
Today
that.
It was pretty warm.
I enjoy that because I'm not trying to be sweating while I'm, you know,
yes,
doing my math problem. Like,
100%.
That's just not how I want to do it. Shout out St. Joe's Prep Math Department. Mr. Falcone right to the right of us, actually.
Shout out.
Shout out Math Department. Shout out all departments at St. Joe's Prep. Now, Chris was doing his Chinese homework before we started. Shout out the Chinese department.
Mandarin.
Oh, I mean, well, it's Mandarin Chinese, right?
Yeah, but.
Well, I mean, all right. Okay. Emilio Iannicone up. He's 0 for 1 today. And that one hits him. That one clips him on the ankle. Emilio Iannicone gets on with a hit by pitch. Iannicone doesn't typically get hit by pitches much. This is the 3rd time this season, but just like clockwork, here comes John Weaver to be the complimentary runner. Weaver this season, we know his speed. 11 runs scored this year, 6 stolen bases. That's 2nd on the team behind Chris Graasso. But now Pat Veza up for St. Joe's Prep. A .310 average and 33 plate appearances for the Prep starting right fielder. He's 0 for 1 today as he swings on the first pitch. Bit on the inside, called for a strike.
I like the aggressive approach from Veza. Swinging first pitch. The Prep not doing that, you know, a lot today. I think only one guy swung the first pitch. That one looked good, just dropped a little low.
Throwback to first, Weaver in standing. Not many people try pickoffs against John Weaver based off of his speed, but Newman-Goretti, maybe gonna be the first team to try that today. We'll see if Weaver does steal, though. He's kind of shaking around over at first. And he'll step off the mound again, LaSpada. He'll throw back to first. Weaver in sliding this go-around.
You know, I really don't like when they, you know, throw over. It's because, you know, like the Holy Ghost Prep game, that went on for 2 hours just because every other pitch was a throw over to first.
Yeah. There's a showing bunt, called for a strike.
I think it was both he offered and
Yeah.
in the zone.
The Hawks showing a lot of bunt here today. We'll see if Newman-Goretti's outfield decides to do much about that. They are kind of playing normally, not really any movement in or back. 0-2 though to Veza. Struck out in his first appearance. Spada deals, puts on the outside, 1-2, and now I don't want to sound like a broken record today here, Sam, but the Hawks, they are making Spada pitch. Even if it's just for one more, those add up. Veza back in the batter's box quickly. Weaver scraping the dirt off of his cleat over at first. Cerrone jumps a bit to his left. He calls time. I think that's the first time this season I've seen the catcher call time.
Happens often. Notices something with Rosa. I think he's going to throw over.
He is in a stance where he's ready to throw. I guess they suspect Weaver is going to be stealing. Throw to first again. Spada putting a lot of oomph into that one as Weaver slides in safely. Hopefully for Newman-Goretti. That one does not go by Ryan Coleman on one of these. We've seen it happen a multitude of times this season between the prep and their opponents. Throw back to first again, and it will go over Coleman's head. John Weaver gets to second base, and he's going to round second. He's going to head for third. He hesitated for a moment. Weaver, he's going to slide in safely.
Great job by Weaver to get in there. Great jump off of first. Even though he had to get back for the pickoff, knew it almost right away that it was over the head of Coleman. And ends up going into scoring position. No, single scores him.
We saw that a couple of days ago against Archbishop Carroll and there's a hidden ball trick over at third. And they tag Weaver on the base path. Umpire's going to talk about this one. This would be something if Weaver is called out. I've never seen a hidden ball trick in the PCL.
That.
Well, let's see if he is out. Cerrone screaming at St. Joseph's Prep dugout. Well, let's see what the umpires say. Was the play blown dead is the question that we have at the current moment in time. Be a shame for the Prep if Weaver's called out.
I mean, I'm not too sure because Weaver did call time.
Interesting. I'm not sure if it was a hidden ball trick or they just... And he's out! They call Weaver out over at third. What an interesting turn of events here on WSJP. Coach Muth arguing with the umpire. But I don't think it's going to be really anything to argue about. They've made their decision. Sam, you might know better than I do. I'm not sure if that's a hidden ball trick or they just realized.
That is a hidden ball trick.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was waiting for the at-bat. Weaver going to have to go to home, or going to have to go back to the dugout.
Oh, that is a killer run.
That is a real killer indeed. The Hawks still up 1-0 over Newman-Goretti, but with one out and Veza is down 0-2. Newman-Goretti trying to get their momentum back in the swing of things. St. Joe's Prep dugout still encouraged even after the out. Pitch to Veza. Called for a ball. Cerrone was ready to throw that one down to third. But not so fast as Pat Veza is trying to get back into this count. Spada takes a deep breath on the mound as he fires to Veza. And he swings on that one in the dirt. It goes behind Cerrone. This is going to be a tough play over to first as Veza's in safely. Still counts as a strikeout, but the Hawks get a man on.
Nice shot by Veza. Quality AB right there. Even though he struck out, I think you said it, Ryan, that Cerrone's mask did, in fact, affect him. Because he had to drop everything before he went to go get the ball. And he also had a slide, which is almost every time they slide, the run's going to be safe at first.
It doesn't really look like he saw the ball as well. I don't think he knew it jumped behind him as coaching staff for Newman-Goretti. There will be a meeting at the mound. Coach does not seem too happy with his infield currently, especially after something like that. That should be a easy out. You know, they kind of say that's routine, but unfortunately for Newman, we have seen it happen a couple times this season, so not as routine as you think it would be, I suppose. As Chris Graasso will step up to the plate for St. Joe's Prep. He's 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. So we'll see how much longer Newman-Goretti decides to keep Spada in the game. After the mound visit, he has led on a couple of batters here. time called at the plate, and Cerrone, not sure. I mean, his equipment today is just not really going well. I'm not sure. Something with his wrist. There's a lot going on.
I think it's the plays.
Ah.
Not the plays, defensive
Yeah,
alignments for each
right.
player.
Yeah, you're probably right, Sam. They got to get a new one for him. Hopefully, they have backups for that. We've needed a lot of backups today. We've needed a backup catcher's mitt. I mean, we needed to back up everything today. We needed to, possibly had to make a backup broadcast. If, this one conked out on us. I mean, it's not just us on WSJP that we're having problems. I mean, it's just it's a struggle sometimes, Sam. It's a struggle.
Very much so.
Nonetheless, Chris Graasso stepping up to the plate for the Hawks. First pitch to Graasso, takes the first one for a strike.
What I've noticed with this Newman-Goretti defense is that they're not playing the lines at all. If Graasso really just hits a blooper down the line, not even a blooper down the line, just hits one down the line, Vesa will score, and that may be a triple for Chris Graasso.
And how fast he is, Vesa. That one is going to stay fair. Vesa will hold at second. He could have possibly went to third, so Graasso on with a single.
If he went to third, it would have been close. That is a good call by Vesa. Staying put, don't want to take the bat out of the hands of Jack Keenan in the on-deck circle. Now in the on-deck circle. Excuse me, but great job by Graasso. Get a base knock in this huge moment.
It'll be Will Ward stepping up to the plate for St. Joe's Prep. He's 1 for 1 today with an infield single. Graasso, big lead off of first as he's not being held on. First pitch to Ward. Takes it on the outside, called for a ball.
It's inside. Excuse me, not inside. I meant, a bunt single.
Oh, you're right. Regardless, Will Ward got on in his last at-bat. 1-0 to him. Spada looking back. Vesa over at second. That one right down the plate, called for a strike. Spada throwing on the outside here today. The Hawks have swung multiple occasions. They've been able to get runners on. And, now, Sam, you kind of go back to that out that was over at third a couple moments ago with Weaver. If Graasso would have gotten on, that would have just been so great. You would have got that extra run as well as Ward takes the time over at home plate.
I kind of forgot a minute there that the Prep are already up 1-0. But, yeah, that would have been huge to get an extra run. Obviously, you want as many runs you need in these PCL games. Anybody can score any runs at any night, but
1-1 to Ward. That was right down the plate, and he is frustrated and swing on that one. I personally thought he was going to rip that one, but he holds back.
If he did, he might have hit might have gone into Lincoln Financial Field, right?
You never know. That one would have been possibly deep on the off speed. 1-2 to Ward. Cerrone jumps a little bit to his left, not too much. Here it is as he hits this one to first. Coleman can't field it cleanly, and Will Ward will get on. Bases are loaded.
Keenan now just looking to hit it into the outfield.
All you need is a long fly ball. Newman-Goretti, a lot of infield problems here today. They have resulted in Ward and Keenan getting on base as Keenan, he got on with a bunt single in his first at-bat, and now he looks to possibly do it again or even something better. Maybe something into the outfield, as Sam mentioned. All you need is a long fly ball. Infield in for Neumann-Goretti. All of them playing on the grass. First pitch to Keenan, high and inside, ball one.
If Keenan has a at-bat like Graasso's, that'll be great for the bat. That might score two. There's huge, no man's land from third base to left field.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, Graasso has been great in running this season as Keenan swings and misses. He has stolen 7 bases this season, has also come across the plate 8 times. So Graasso, someone we didn't really see run a lot last year. It wasn't really his specialty. Maybe now turning it into a specialty. And hopefully we can see it if Keenan can get a hit here, as this one is high and away, 2-1.
Cerrone kind of threatening a snapback throw, but Coleman wasn't even standing on first base. Not holding the runner on, but...
Well, yeah, Newman-Goretti playing that infield in, as I mentioned, so that is kind of their situation with one out. 2-1 to Keenan. That one high, but called for a strike. Keenan jerking his head a little bit. He did not like that call
at all.
Even count, 2-2. Espada waving off Cerrone momentarily as Keenan calls time at the plate. It's been a lot of calling time and just trying to get the advantage over the other for both teams. St. Joe's Prep, they had bases loaded earlier in this contest. They were not able to score on that. But Jack Keenan trying to make up the error of the Hawks' ways earlier in this game. 2-2. He swings and misses through that one. Strike 3. And that will have the Hawks rely on Danny Matthews to try and bring in some runs.
Matthews, all he has to do is hit it on the ground, and hopefully this Newman-Goretti defense will make it their second error of the game.
Infield now completely back for the Saints, as there is 2 outs now in the inning. First pitch to Matthews, swings through that one, called for a strike. Espada being risky, throwing these down the plate for the Hawks, but he has gotten them to swing and miss a couple of times. 0-1 to Matthews. Ward not being held on over at first. And he swings through that one again. It's now 0-2. Espada throwing a lot on the outside here today. 0-2. Espada trying to get out of the inning with nothing. And he will. Got him looking. Newman-Goretti hype as they're going to go back to the dugout. They end the inning. St. Joe's Prep still up 1-0. They're 0 for 2 with bases loaded. We'll take a break on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. Hawks leading 1-0 over Newman-Goretti as we go to the 4th inning, halfway done at FDR Park. Cerrone, the catcher, comes to the plate for Newman-Goretti. Let's hope he doesn't have any equipment issues while he's batting. He's had a lot today when it comes to at the plate. Actually, I apologize. It's actually Bresci at the plate for Newman-Goretti. I thought I saw a 1, but I was certainly wrong. First pitch out of Iannicone's glove, called for a ball. Shout out producer Chris Coleman for telling me that I was wrong. It happens a lot.
No, I'm liking Bresci's gloves. I don't know if you picked that up on the broadcast, but they are bright pink.
They are very pink. As he fouls this one up.
No,
Please don't come here.
No,
Oh, God.
We're good.
Okay, we're okay. That one bounces off.
We're good.
You would have seen me jump up and save the equipment.
I'm locked in here. Like, I can't get up. Right?
If that would have came, I would have. That would be the most
no.
athletic move I would ever make. Jumping up and saving these. 1-1 in the dirt. 2-1. Like it would have been bad.
That was probably the closest foul ball we've had all year.
I would get a athletic scholarship from someplace if somebody would have saw that. Bresci swings through that one. 2-2. Chris Graasso looking for his 8th of this contest. Struck Bresci out in his first at-bat. Likes the call from Iannicone. As this one is hit into center field, Van Deen backing up on it, and he makes the catch. 1 out in the inning after the near scare of equipment break on WSJP with a foul ball. Van Noor comes to the plate.
You know, despite the fly out, that was a great swing by Bresci. I mean, if Van Deen was playing a few steps in and not George Van Deen out there, that would have been a hit.
Yeah, Van Deen.
It would have been a dangerous hit.
Arguably the fastest player on this team. Van Noor takes the first pitch low, 1-0. Van Noor is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Graasso sets and deals as Van Noor fouls this one off a bit late in his swing, 1-1. Newman-Goretti looking for another base runner here. They've been able to get some in this game. We'll see if they can get a Steve Van Noor on as he takes the next pitch for a strike. He leaves the batter's box not liking it, thinking it's a bit low, but the good framing from Emilio Iannicone possibly could have got that call to strike. Graasso likes a call from Iannicone. It might be off speed. It will be, and it pushes it a bit high.
You know, the PCL, low and away, is kind of where the strike zone kind of stretches a little bit. That's where, you know, guys are most comfortable as well.
Iannicone jumps again to his right. Off speed, hit in the infield. It's going to be a tough play for Lockers. It took a bad bounce. Throwing the run to first. Van Noor is safe. So Newman-Goretti, they do get that runner on that they have wanted. And just a tough play for David Locker, but such a nice hit ball into the infield.
Yeah, and hard to get it over Chris Graasso, especially on the mound. I don't know what his height is when he's on the mound. But, you know, that's a very perfectly placed blooper. I see Mr. Martin down here gave the dugout a catcher's mitt.
Oh, Mr.
Maybe
Martin
maybe
coming in
his
clutch.
sons and my fellow classmate.
Throw to first, and Van Noor slides in safely. Everyone screaming out here on the side of St. Joe's Prep.
Finishing my sentence of his sons, Kevin Martin, on the freshman baseball team.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier he was a catcher today. So, I don't know. Pellegrino 1 for 1 today with a single. And he takes the first pitch for a strike. Solid lead off first for Van Noor. That's how the Hawks almost got him out last time. Graasso will deliver this time, and he fouls it off the fence.
Kind of very weird lead from Van Noor off first base. He's not really in the regular position. He's kind of, his back foot is almost right towards Locker. Weird angle of his feet set.
Off speed, drop by Iannico and Van Orr. He's going to go over to second, and he'll be in safely. Newman-Goretti, runner in scoring position. A strikeout or just any out for Chris Graasso would be great to get 2 outs in the inning, and Iannico will get a new catcher's glove once again. Maybe a warm-up pitch needed. No, never mind. No warm-up pitch this time. Or will we? Big question on WSJP.
No, shout out Mr. Martin. Give him a
Shout out. Shout out the science department. I know I'm shouting out all the departments, but shout out the science department.
Shout out all the departments, right?
That's fair. That's fair. 1 and 2 from Graasso. Van Orr, big lead off second. Off speed, got him swinging. Chris Graasso, another strikeout. That's 8 today.
That was Pellegrino's first. So that now there's only one guy in the Newman-Goretti lineup that has not struck it out today. I mean, that one, Pellegrino was shocked that that thing had that much movement on it. Kind of looked like a half swing. Looked back at the dugout like, oh my goodness. Great pitch.
DiGiacomo up for Newman-Goretti. Van Orr, he was just about ready to go to third base as DiGiacomo fouls this one out of play. And that will hit the bench once again. I thought one of the hockey guys could have caught that one.
Yeah, I thought maybe Gargon would have caught that one. Maybe Robbie Andrews down there with him too.
Robbie Andrews, he can catch the ball and he can shoot. He was a nice big catch and shoot guy. So I don't know. I won't call out Robbie Andrews though. That's the guy. That's the man. Giacomo 0 for 1 today. Struck out in his first plate appearance. As Chris Graasso looks to get out of this inning with just a runner on second base. In there for a strike, and umpire, I thought it was a strikeout. He made the strikeout motion. See, for one time in when I will ever call baseball, I got the count better than the umpire. That is the one time that will only happen.
I mean, I don't know how you messed that up.
I don't know, but that's the only time it will ever happen. All I know. 0 and 2. DiGiacomo fouls this one back out of play. You know, Sam, I'm not really liking that all these foul balls are coming near us.
You might have to get somebody to go over to that side.
I might have. You know what? We recently just got a WSJP tent. I think we might need to bring that out.
Yeah, might not fit in Colcoon CRVZ.
Well, you know what?
We'll strap it to the roof.
We'll walk here. I don't know.
We can strap to the roof.
0 and 2 to DiGiacomo. Graasso looks back, Van Orr over at second, being held on by Sittler. Here's the pitch on the outside, ball 1. St. Joe's Prep once again looking to get out of the inning with no runs scored. They're 0 for 2 today themselves with bases loaded, which would have gotten them a bigger lead and some more insurance here. But they're going to have to rely on Graasso to get the strikeout, as this one is going to be softly hit in front of the plate. And Graasso will hold, no throw to Giacomo on with an infield single. Seems like Newman-Goretti today just getting all the luck when it comes to these balls hitting the infield.
Yeah, like you said, that one barely got over the head of Graasso earlier in the inning. Now that one right there, just no man's land for the catcher and the pitcher.
Runners on the corners now for Newman-Goretti. Ward holding the Giacomo on first. Here's the pitch from Graasso in the dirt, 1-0. Graasso saying something to Iannico. You know, the Prep not getting much luck here with these infield singles. I'm not getting any luck with these bugs as they are flying around me.
There's a spider on my computer.
I am not happy about this. That one called for a strike right down the plate to Cray. Newman-Goretti now with 4 hits on the day. They have hit the ball well against Chris Graasso, better than a lot of teams. That's now 1-1 in the count. As I mentioned, runners on the corners. Graasso trying to get it done with his arm. Steal over to second. This one will be hit to Will Ward, and he will field it cleanly to get the out. The Hawks once again survive a scare. Keep runners on the corners as we will go to the bottom of the 4th here on WSJP. Sam, you know, we talked about, you know, I just said it. A scare in the last couple of innings here. The Prep they do hold, but now you feel like your offense has got to come up to the plate, and you got to be able to score runs. Got to convert with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, that's two out of the 4 innings where you've ended the inning with bases loaded. Like,
Yeah.
that cannot happen.
Yeah, it can definitely not happen. But the Hawks, they will be bringing up Sittler, Locker, and Van Deen. All did not get, well, all did not get on base due to a hit. Sittler did get on due to a walk in his first plate appearance, so we'll see if he can possibly be a leadoff guy for the Prep once again. Locker, as I mentioned, making that start over at second base for the first time this season. We typically see him behind the plate, but Coach Muth has a lot of confidence in him to play second base. Quick throw down to second. Not much warm-up time Laspada needs. Both teams also not pulling their starting pitchers, as this is the fourth inning Laspada has pitched. This is typically when you see in the PCL where teams start to maybe think about getting the relievers in there, but I don't think many of these guys will. I think Danny Matthews is actually warming up for the Prep as we speak. Yes, he is. Newman-Goretti not warming up, I believe, but the Hawks warming up Danny Matthews. That could have been Graasso's last inning. We'll see, though, once the Hawks come out to the field once again. But now, Johnny Sittler up to the plate for the Prep. He swings through the first pitch for a strike. A lot of swing and misses today for St. Joe's Prep. 0-1 to Sittler. He makes contact on this one, but fouls it off. 0-2.
No, Sittler down 0-2 very early. Kind of doesn't even realize that he's down 0-2. And now here, I mean, the best you can get is a 2-strike single.
Yeah, but he will swing through it. Strike three. Another strikeout for Laspada. That's his sixth today. And he is throwing a lot of strikes to St. Joe's Prep.
Yeah, and they're biting. They are biting on the balls as well.
David Locker up for the Hawks. He's 0 for 1 today. Holds off the umpire. Doesn't want Laspada throwing to him quickly. They'll take the first pitch. Fouled off. I was thinking the Prep maybe got lucky like Newman-Goretti. Got that little bouncer up the third base line.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not meant to be for David Locker that go around. Locker this season, as I mentioned earlier, he's only played in a couple of games, 3 games total, but still Coach Muth has that confidence in him to play, and there's a good reason for that, as he will get on with a base hit.
Great job by Locker. All of his hits this season are singles. Just a fantastic job. Great piece of hitting, opposite field. Coleman, a very tall guy, so I'm shocked that got over him.
I think it might have hit him in the glove. I
It
do believe
did.
it did. Yeah, it clipped him a little bit, but he was not able to make the catch. George Van Deen up. He's 0 for 1 today. Locker off first, not taking a big lead. Spada deals to Van Deen on the first pitch. He fouls off. Sam, I think, we talked about how the Prep, they were just swinging at a lot of pitches and missing. It's good to see the Hawks making contact.
Yeah, and even if it's soft contact like that, hit by Locker.
If I get bit by one of these bugs, I'm going to be very upset. 0-1 to Van Deen. And he's going to show bunting. He will bunt here. He's halfway down the first base line. Throw over to first mate, and he trips Coleman. It looks like their ankles just got knocked into each other, but it will advance Locker over to second base, and the umpires, they will talk about this one. Maybe to see if it was intentional. I highly doubt that. Actually, I can pretty much guarantee you that's not the case. Nonetheless, Emilio Iannicone coming up for St. Joe's Prep. Van Deen now 0 for 2 today.
I don't think he was blocking. I think it was just.
I think their ankles just got twisted.
Yeah,
into each other.
I think Van Deen's leg was just a bit.
Yeah, so no discussion there. Not much of a discussion needed about that one. Coleman is okay. Van Deen walked off on his own power, so no leg injuries. And it looks like Newman-Goretti's coaching staff trying to argue that. I don't know if they're trying to argue if it was intentional. And the umpire yelling at them to get back to their dugout.
Almost every coach from Newman-Goretti is out of the dugout.
Yeah, the umpire not really liking that, trying to keep this game under control. They have done a great job of that so far, so shout out to them. As Emilio Iannicone will step up to the plate for St. Joe's Prep. He's 0 for 1 today. Got on with a hit by pitch. Has Locker on second. We know Locker has some speed around the bases. So if Iannicone can maybe knock one for a single, let's see if this one will get down into right center field. And the play will be made to end the inning. The Hawks once again leaving a man on the bases, and we will go to the top of the fifth. We'll take a break on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. And then let's go. Ryan Coleman up to the plate for Newman-Goretti. He walked in his first plate appearance. Chris Graasso trying to get the first out of the inning here, and that would go great for the Hawks. They have led on base runners in just about every inning. And this one will hit Coleman near the neck area. Oof, and he will get on with a hit by pitch.
Now, I was just about to mention that Coleman is the only Newman-Goretti batter that has not struck out today.
Valese is now up, as there will be a complimentary runner, Nick Kosha, coming on a complimentary run for Ryan Coleman. As I mentioned, Valese up. He is 0 for 1 today. Interesting. Newman-Goretti, pretty much every single player from the dugout came out after that hit by pitch. Kosha solid lead off of first. As Graasso looks to regroup. Bunt being shown. This one goes to the backstop, but it will be a stolen base for Kosha nonetheless, as he went before the ball got to the backstop.
Unfortunate for Chris Graasso. As Chris gets to these later innings, he may start to lose it a little bit. May start to lose command. So we've already seen a hit by pitch and a pass ball.
So now it's 1-0 to Valese. Now runner in scoring position. Ward in the infield just in case there's a bunt. Have to assume there could be a throw over to third. Saying that this bunt goes to Ward. This one called for a ball. Valese was showing bunt, but not called for a strike. Umpire says he did not go.
Did not like that call. I think that one maybe just caught the bottom of the zone. Coach Muth can't even believe it.
Check with the infield umpire, and they will say he did not go around. Coach Muth is angry about it. Well, nothing going to happen from that call. 2-0. And he's showing bunt again. Ward completely in the infield locker, going to move over to first, and now he will show hit, but he'll take a strike. Third base coach of Newman-Goretti livid that Velez did not bunt that one.
That was a great pitch to do it. Almost middle.
Would have been. 2-1 to Velez. Chris Graasso likes the call from Iannicone. No outs. Kosha off second. That one almost hit Velez. Graasso has been having some control issues to start this inning. 3-1. Shane Meisler warming up in the warming up for St. Joe's Prep. 3-1 from Graasso. That one high ball 4. Velez on with a walk. Second walk of the day for Chris Graasso. Top of the lineup coming up for Newman-Goretti. Here is Lenhart. Iannico going out to talk to Graasso.
I mean, I cannot believe that was a ball. That was right down the middle. I mean, Emilio Iannico didn't even drop his glove or anything to make it seem like it was a ball. That was just...
Now, nonetheless, here comes Lenhart. He's 1 for 2 today. 2 runners on, no outs. And he's going to show bunt. Ward completely in. That pitch called for a strike.
No, Ward might as well just stay to where he's at, because they're showing bunt every time.
Graasso likes the call from Iannicone. Looks back at Kosha. Over at second, who's going to steal. That one hits Lenhart nonetheless. Bases loaded with no outs for the Saints.
This is a game-defying AB here for Cerrone. Prep only up by 1. And if I'm being honest, the Prep, if they would have scored at least 2 with the bases loaded with less than 2 outs in both those innings, they wouldn't even have to worry about this.
Yeah.
Graasso would be very calm, but now his, blood pressure is high, and it's getting to him.
No doubt about it. Coach Cavallaro out there to talk to Chris Graasso and the infield as they prepare to deal with bases loaded with no outs. For St. Joe's Prep, they would probably just be lucky to get out of this inning with just 1 run scored.
Yeah.
But we'll see how Graasso can deal with it. No outs in the inning. Bases loaded. Cerrone up to the plate. Hurts the Hawks that top of the lineup is up here. 2, 3, 4. Graasso has to deal with Cerrone, Bresci, and Venor. Cheers from both sides as Newman-Goretti looking to tie this thing up. Infield in for the Hawks. First pitch to Cerrone. He gets him swinging.
I mean, if Graasso can just strike this one batter out, I think he'll be right back into it.
Graasso likes the call from Iannicone. At the plate, here's the pitch. Got him looking on the strike. 0-2. 2 off speeds from Graasso. We'll see if he can possibly throw something on the outside. We've seen that happen a lot. Iannicone going out to talk to Graasso at the mound. Maybe a little mind games being played from St. Joe's Prep.
Huge pitch. Cerrone to swing on this one. He has to.
Probably right, Sam, and I think that could be what Iannicone is saying as Newman-Goretti coaching staff once again coming out to argue with the umpire. It has been a day here at FDR. But Chris Graasso looking to get an out here. Time called by Cerrone. This last pitch, or possible last pitch, taking a while. Coaches on the backstop for Newman-Goretti. That is something I haven't seen. 0-2 from Graasso. Got him swinging. Strike 3. 9 today for Graasso, but he's still got a ways to go. Has 2 more outs to get with Bresci coming to the plate for the Saints.
That's the 3rd time I've seen Cerrone walk back to the dugout and tell Bresci something. But Bresci still has 0 hits.
Oh, I mean, we'll see here. Anything can change. The momentum has gone in favor of Newman-Goretti in this inning. They are looking to score a run or maybe 2. Infield a bit back for the Hawks. Ward and Keenan are still playing up. First pitch on the outside, 1-0.
Graasso, he has to throw it on the outside part of the strike zone. Because if he throws it in, it might hit a Newman-Goretti batter. They're almost corralling the plate.
Second pitch. This one hit past Keenan for a base hit. 1 run will score. Matthews fumbling with it in left field. Another run will score. Runner out at third, but Newman-Goretti have taken the lead. Kosha down at home. An extra base for Bresci. 2-run RBI single. Unfortunate there for St. Joe's Prep. And we'll take a short break on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. Back at it here on WSJP. Newman-Goretti take the lead. There are 2 outs in the inning. Van Noor stepping up to the plate. He's 1 for 2 today with a single. Newman-Goretti all base hits today. Complimentary runner coming out for the Saints. It will be Musil.
A great ovation from the dugout.
Graasso trying to get out of this inning with minimal damage. First pitch going to the backstop now. Musil will get to third. He'll hold it. A lot of control problems here. Iannacone arguing with the ump about something. The Hawks got to keep a cool head as they are now down. And they will have 3 innings left to get runs. They've only scored 1 here today.
I mean, like I said, the Prep need a hit with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's just been their biggest point today.
Next pitch from Graasso down the plate called for a strike. Graasso now with a runner on third, puts it low, 2-1. Coach Muth calling something out to George Van Deen in the outfield.
And the middle infielders both.
Yes.
All of them move back.
2-1 from Chris. Van Noor fouls it back late on the swing, 2-2. 1 more for the Hawks to get out of this inning with just 2 runs scored, and that would be lucky, I think, if you are St. Joe's Prep. Van Noor still in the batter's box, didn't really move out of it. He's ready. Graasso now ready as well as he delivers, and Van Noor will foul it off again. Coach Muth, kind of made an error on that one, and now there's going to be interference from Iannacone at home plate. Coach Muth not liking it, saying the ball was hit directly to him. How could it be interference? But it doesn't matter. Van Noor off the interference.
Who's calling this game, Blue? Who's calling the game?
Pellegrino now up for Newman-Goretti. Runners on the corners for the Saints. Graasso takes a deep breath and he delivers as Pellegrino swings through that one. Foul tip called for a strike. It's been a lot of unlucky turn of events for the Hawks here today, Sam. But going into this bottom of the fifth inning, if they can get this out here, they got to be able to score some runs. Steal to second. Iannacone just holding the ball. Strike two. Doesn't really seem like it's phased Graasso. I'm not even sure if he knows that Van Noor stole on that one.
No, if he threw it over, the runner would score from third.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to make a.
No,
All right, maybe I said that wrong. Pellegrino calls time at home. We've seen that happen a couple times this season with that double steal and one to home. Here it is, 0-2 to Pellegrino. Graasso deals, puts it on the inside, 1-2. Graasso looks to get out again. That one on the outside, 2-2 now. Graasso seems a bit frustrated at the bump. Hawks fans on their feet, encouraging Graasso to get out of this inning. Here we go again, 2-2. Pellegrino swings and misses in the dirt. Strike three. The Hawks get out of this inning, but Newman-Goretti have taken the lead 2-1 over St. Joe's Prep. Sam, you know, we talked about it earlier. The Hawks, they needed to score runs. Now they definitely need to score.
Now, as Iannacone is leading the huddle for the team, he's telling them that the umpires are not going to be on their side today, and they just have to hit. They have to. And it's really just been a bad time over plate.
The Hawks in risk of losing their PCL winning streak this season. They are undefeated currently. At the moment in time, the only undefeated team in the PCL, as Archbishop Wood suffered a loss to Conwell Egan on Monday. The Hawks now in their biggest test this season, probably in their closest game, most intense. They have not had to come back from behind much. They did lose a close one to the Haverford School in a close game, and just a week ago, or under a week ago really, just 5 days ago, they had a close contest against Conwell Egan, which came in a walk-off run from John Weaver. Pat Vezza coming up for St. Joe's Prep, and now, more than ever, as I've said, the Hawks need base runners, and they need runs. Vezza 0 for 2 today, but he did get on base when he struck out in his last at-bat. We'll see if he can possibly be a leadoff for St. Joe's Prep. La Spada out there for another inning of work once again. First pitch from him in the dirt, 1-0. You have to assume that that was Graasso's last inning, as his pitch count is most likely enormous after that inning. And we'll see if this is La Spada's last inning of work as he puts the pitch high but called for a strike.
The strike show is just has been inconsistent today.
1-1. Vezza swings on that one in the dirt. And Cerrone can't even find the ball in the dirt. Now, there we go. It seems like the ball is invisible in the dirt today a couple of times. Both catchers have not really found the ball. 1-2 to Pat Veza. Laspada looking for another strikeout. It would be his 7th. Ball on the outside, 2-2.
You'd also have to imagine that this is Laspada's last inning if, if there's a runner that gets on the second base.
Cerrone jumps to the outside. Veza swings in the dirt. Strike 3, throw over to first. This time will be made on Veza for the out, as Chris Graasso will come up to the plate. Veza now 0 for 3. As Graasso, he is 1 for 2 with a base hit. He looks to get on here with 1 out. Graasso coming into the game was batting .250 on the season, as he takes the first pitch in the dirt, 1-0.
Graasso really just has to hit one into the cap. Needs to get into scoring position. Needs really just to get on base.
Will Ward on deck for the Hawks, who's also 1 for 2 today. All the next 3 batters for the Hawks. Graasso currently, Ward and Keenan all 1 for 2. Graasso holds back again, called for a ball, 2-0.
Huge moment for the prep.
Spada sets deals as Graasso hits this one into right center field, and it will go to the wall. No one can find it. Graasso, he probably could go 3, and now he will. Graasso slides in safely, and it goes past third base. Chris Graasso on with a triple.
I thought that one was gone. I was raising my hands. I thought it was out of here, but a huge triple by Chris Graasso to give the prep a runner in scoring position with less than 2 outs.
Hawks bench is hype. There is a meeting at the mound. We'll see if that is would have been Laspada's last pitch. I don't think it is. They haven't taken the ball from him, so it'll give Will Ward an opportunity to get on and possibly drive in Chris Graasso. I mentioned it earlier, Sam. All you need is a long fly ball.
All you need. I mean, if Ward has a similar swing to Graasso's, that'd be awesome because, I don't know how long Graasso's been in the weight room, but I can guarantee you Will Ward's been in more.
Yeah.
So that one will go.
Those guys lift consistently, so it could definitely somewhat equal. But Graasso, credit him to the speed. I mean, he didn't even know he could have gotten third there, and he still got in safely.
Yeah, I think he thought, that's what I thought, that went over the fence for a ground rule double.
That could have been
Luckily it did not.
Could have also gotten the park just by the air. That could have been an opposite field. Would have been Graasso's first out of the park home run this season. But now Will Ward up to the plate for St. Joe's Prep, looking to tie this game up once again. Infield in for Newman-Goretti. First pitch to Ward on the outside, 1-0. Graasso a quarter of a way down the third base line.
I mean, unless this ball hits the backstop and dies, Graasso will not go home.
Yeah. Ward thought about the swing there. He doesn't like the call, but it's still a strike, 1-1. Will Ward this season has been the Hawks' power hitter. He's 1 for 2 today. In for a strike again. Will Ward leaving the plate, not liking it at all. 1-2 to Will Ward.
Ward just has to put it in play.
Yeah, anything in play would hopefully drive Graasso home. We will see if he can do so. Keenan on deck for the Hawks. Laspada sets and delivers in the dirt. Graasso holds as the ball does not leave the circle. 2-2 to Will Ward.
Like I said, if that thing's the only way he can go, if it's bounces almost towards one of the dugouts or hits the backstop outside of the grass.
2-2 to Will Ward. High pressure situation for everybody on the field. As Ward hits this one into left field, the catch will be made. Graasso tagging for home. It's going to be a play at the plate. Never mind. Graasso in safely, and this game is tied.
A huge RBI by Will Ward. Thank goodness he came through.
Thank goodness indeed, Sam. That is what the Hawks needed, as we are all tied up at FDR Park. And Newman-Goretti throwing the ball to third. They thought Graasso didn't tag, but the umpires disagree with them that time.
He definitely tagged her.
Yeah, I couldn't see how he wouldn't have. But Jack Keenan now up for St. Joe's Prep. After the Hawks tied things up, there are 2 outs in the inning. First pitch to Keenan for a strike. That one inside. Oh, and 1 to Keenan. That one hits him on the ankle, and he'll get on with a hit by pitch.
You know, cannot let the Prep start a rally here. I mean, 2-out rally, hardly see it, but I mean, if Matthews gets on here, you know, you got Alex Arespi in the on-deck circle on a pinch hit for Johnny Sittler.
Keenan limped to first. Coach Muth going out there to check on him. Keenan says he's fine. He looks to be, as he did get there his own power. And they will get a complimentary runner for him nonetheless. It'll be James Fratt.
James Fratt here, a little bit of a roar from the hockey guys down there.
Yeah, you kind of do. But here comes Danny Matthews. 0 for 2 today. Alex Arespi is on deck. Sittler, who normally bats after Matthews, not batting if Matthews can get on. Throw back to first. Fratt slides in safely. Espada has kept the Hawks on a multitude of times. We have not seen any steal attempts today from St. Joe's Prep. Ryan Coleman talking to James Fratt. I mean, South Philly. It's all intertwined.
Yeah.
Throw back to first again, and Fratt will get in safely. Danny Matthews trying to bring Fratt around the bases. We know he has speed. We saw him on the ice this season, flying. Fratt jumping at first. First pitch to Matthews, and he swings through the first one for a strike. Good off speed from Espada to get Matthews swinging. The Hawks, they have gotten what needs to be done. They have tied the game up in this inning, but they look for more with 2 outs now. Will Ward hit a sacrifice fly to drive in Chris Graasso, who hit a triple earlier in the inning. 0-1 to Matthews. Takes it high, ball 1. Cerrone holding Fratt on at first. Thought about the throwdown. He did not do it.
I mean, if he threw it down, he would have hit Matthews in the box.
Yeah, he probably would have. Matthews a lefty, as we know. Cerrone jumps a bit to his left and gets Matthews to swing on that one. 1-2. Matthews swinging at a lot here today. Struggling to make some contact, but he gets at least one more opportunity to maybe put something in play. Espada trying to get out of the inning with just 1 run scored against St. Joe's Prep. That would take us to the 6th inning. Throw back to first. Coleman has to come off the bag to grab it. Espada doing everything he can to make sure James Fratt does not steal. Fratt once again dancing over at first. Espada delivers, and he gets Matthews a swing and miss on that one. Strike 3. St. Joe's Prep, they tie the game up at 2, but Newman-Goretti will bring their hot bats back up to the plate here at FDR Park, live on WSJP. Nick DiGiacomo up for Newman-Goretti as we move to the top of the 6th inning here. It's tied 2-2. Not much scoring. Newman-Goretti warming up a man as we go into the 6th inning. Van Noor's the guy warming up. Shane Meisler on the mound for St. Joe's Prep. DiGiacomo showing bunt. And they say he did not go around. That is a interesting call as DiGiacomo was ready to go up the first base line.
Yeah, he was out of the batter's box. And I understand, like, he didn't physically offer at it, but he just ran over the plate, which is technically a swing.
DiGiacomo fouls that one back. Meisler this season, a 1.5 ERA, or 1.50 ERA, I apologize, in 4 appearances. Meisler's given up 3 runs, 2 hits, and 3.2 innings pitched. The 1-1 from him, low, called for a ball. DiGiacomo 1 for 2 today, got an infield single as he looks to be a leadoff for Newman-Goretti. The Saints have been getting leadoffs and runners on with just 1 out. So they have put runners on base today. We know they can. Next pitch in for a strike. DiGiacomo jerking his head, saying, all right, that's a good call.
I mean, it was on the outside corner.
Meisler waves off Iannicone twice. Did it very quickly. Takes a deep breath, fires on the outside. 3-2, full count.
Now, if Meisler throws one low and in, I think that'll be his first punch out of the game.
Would be. Giacomo not getting the bat off his shoulders much here. Meisler puts it in. No, he does not.
That's the same spot as just 2 pitches before, and it's called a ball.
Iannico not liking it. The umpire talking to him. I mean, I thought that was a strikeout. Clearly, I was wrong there. You know, I say every broadcast, I'm not going to assume. And then I assume.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a struggle out here. DiGiacomo, though, on for the 2nd time today. Cray is now up. He's 0 for 2 today. Bunt being shown. That's a good one to the mound. Meisler hands it, and Cray is safe as Ward got off the base. Two runners on with no outs. Newman-Goretti. They have been able to get runs today in these types of situations. Ryan Coleman up. In his 2 at-bats, he's gotten on with a walk and a hit by pitch. Newman-Goretti once again trying to take the lead here at FDR Park.
If I was Meisler, I would not throw it inside to Coleman.
Yeah, you're probably right about that one, Sam. He's showing bunt. Ward all the way in. Steal over to third. It gets out of Iannicone's glove. Cray will move over to second. Now 2 runners in scoring position with no outs. It's been a problem today for the Hawks with the backstop and catching pitches. Here we go, Meisler trying to get back into this inning here. We thought he had a strikeout earlier. It was not meant to be for the junior first year on varsity. Second pitch to Coleman. That one goes to the backstop. DiGiacomo holds at third.
Great job by Meisler covering the plate.
Great job from Meisler indeed. Infield umpire. Not sure if he's going back to talk to Giacomo. All right, he's just clearing the bag. Two 2-0 from Meisler. He's had to face some adversity this season. Once again, facing it at FDR Park. This game almost has been 2 hours, and we're not, we're about 2 innings from this game being done as Coleman takes this one down the plate for a strike. Meisler takes a deep breath, delivers as Coleman hits a straight to Locker, who makes the catch.
2-2.
And Sittler was not there for the double play, but nonetheless.
Oh, that would have been huge.
St. Joe's Prep get the out. Coleman laughing about it as he goes back to the dugout as Valace will come up. Unfortunate for the Hawks. They could have doubled up there. And once again, kind of just an unlucky turn of events for the Hawks.
Craig got bailed out at second base. If Sittler was anywhere on the infield, that would have, double play.
Runner still on second and third for Newman-Goretti. Ward is playing in, so is Keenan. First pitch to Valace in there for a strike.
That was nasty. That one looked like it was about to hit Valace and came back inside, caught the strike zone.
Meisler waves off Iannacone. Likes the second call. Iannacone jumps to his right. Valace takes it for a strike once again. It's a quick 0-2. We'll see what Meisler decides to deliver on the 0-2. We've seen a lot on the outside of the zone in these situations for the Prep. We'll see if Meisler decides to do that. Infield completely in for St. Joe's Prep. Keenan playing a bit back, but everyone else on the grass. 0-2. Here it is. Valace stays back on that one. 1-2. Meisler waves off Iannacone. Ready for the pitch. Here it is. Valace hits this one to Sittler. Trying to get the tag. He cannot get it. One run is scored. Sittler saying he got the tag.
He did. When he was fielding the ball, he fielded it and he already had the tag on him. So that should be an out at third base.
Well, it's not going to be. The umpires have already made their decision. It's 3-2 Newman-Goretti in the top of the 6th. Coach Muth, bit of an argument with the umps, but not much going to happen there. Runners on the corners with 1 out in the inning. And Coach Muth will go to talk to Meisler. We'll see if they pull him. Normally when Muth goes out, they bring in somebody else, and I think they will. Danny Matthews going to come in from left field. Van Dien will most likely move to left with Allman going to center field. Shane Meisler coming out of the game. Just an unfortunate turn of events from him. We thought he had some strikeouts. You know, the tag that could have possibly been called ticky-tacky there as Danny Matthews will come into the game. He just pitched an inning on Monday against Archbishop Carroll. We'll see what he does against Newman-Goretti. We'll take a break on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. Danny Matthews in the game for St. Joe's Prep. Has a 1.05 ERA this season in 5 appearances, 15 strikeouts. Throw back to first, dropped by Ward. Cray stays over at third.
I mean, he was 100% picked off at first. If Ward holds on to that ball.
Lenhart up for Newman-Goretti. He's 1 for 2 today with a single. Also got on with a hit by pitch.
Also looked like Cray was about ready to go. Good job by Ward to keep it in front of him.
Time called at the plate by Iannicone. Matthews likes the call from Emilio. Now going to deliver the first pitch. And never mind, he's going to throw it to first. Valet safe. Once again, I assumed. It's all right. Top of the order for Newman-Goretti. And there's going to be a steal down to second. Ball called. Valais gets on second. Now 2 runners in scoring position. 3rd stolen base total today for Newman-Goretti. Coach Muth signaling infield into his infielders. Want to know from Danny Matthews. In for a strike.
Matthews should have to attack that outside zone. That's where the really a strike zone is towards the outside of the plate.
That one hit over the head of Locker for a base hit. 1 run will score. And another will as well. Newman-Goretti have taken a 3-run lead over St. Joe's Prep.
Great opposite field swing. That is very unfortunate if you're the Prep.
Unfortunate indeed for the Hawks. Now they are down 3 runs here in this top of the 6th inning. All those runs were Meisler's earned. Steal over to third from Lenhart. Iannicone throws it down. He is safe.
Keenan dropped the ball.
Another stolen base for Newman-Goretti. 4 on the day. Cerrone's up to the plate currently. He's 0 for 3. But Newman-Goretti, they have been driving in a multitude of runs today. The Hawks with 2 innings to try and tie or take the lead. Infield still in for St. Joe's Prep. Cerrone calls time, and they give it to him.
I don't understand that call because when Locker, before anybody was even set, he called time earlier in the game, and they did not give it to him. Matthews in his full windup, and they give it to him.
Matthews deals, and this one is hit shallow into right field. Runner will tag 2 home. Never mind, he will stay. Lenhart, 2 outs in the inning. Great throw home from Pat Vezza.
Patty Vezza, if that, like you said, an absolute strike of a throw. He really no chance to score if the runner take tag. Great job to keep it at 5 runs for Newman.
Bresci now up. Runner still on third with 2 outs in the inning. Matthews trying to get out of this inning with no earned runs for him. As this one is hit into center field. Allman backing up on it. And he makes the catch. That will end the top half of the inning. But Newman-Goretti have broke open this game. 3-run lead for the Saints. Sam, we talked about it earlier. The Hawks, they need to score runs, but you definitely need to score now.
Yeah, there's no other choice. You can't score. Well, you can, but it's very hard to score 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning, especially when the umpires are kind of not on your side. Which is a very disappointing game for the Prep at the plate.
La Spada back out for Newman-Goretti. This is going to be his 6th inning of work. That is incredible for him if he can go the distance. No reason to assume why he wouldn't. He's had a great day. He's only given up 2 to a hot St. Joe's Prep team who were coming into the game with a .337 batting average as a team. The Hawks today at .238.
I mean, that needs to be 400, right? They had so many opportunities to score, so many. And I'm just really upset that this Prep team, this very, very talented Prep team, cannot hit with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, the Hawks could have had an opportunity for a lot more runners if they would have done so. Alex Orespi will come up for St. Joe's Prep. Sittler will most likely stay in the game. There is that rule in the PIAA where you can have that runner hit, but the fielder stays on. Throw down to second, and we will get going here in the bottom of the 6th. The Hawks have 2 more opportunities, and it will start with Alex Orespi, 7-8-9 for St. Joe's Prep. Orespi, Locker, and Van Deen. For the Hawks, the comeback has got to start now. And Laspada, he has pitched somewhat a lot today, but his pitch count has been down for the most part. That is most likely why Newman-Goretti has deciding to keep him in the game. Orespi, though, coming up to the plate for the first time in this game, a .318 average and 27 plate appearances, 7 hits, and 9 RBIs for the Hawks' usual starting second baseman as he takes the first pitch low for a ball.
Now we need Alex Orespi to just get on base. Get on base, steal second to get in scoring position.
That one almost clipped Orespi. It does not, nonetheless, as he takes it for a ball.
Looked like it did, honestly.
Might as well.
I mean, I'd take it.
There's not the call. Orespi takes that one for a strike, 2-1. That one, a big disagreement between the umpire and St. Joe's Prep. Orespi hits it down the third base line. Here's the throw over to first. Orespi is out.
Now Locker looking to keep this Prep into this game. Kind of just the king of singles for the Prep in these past few games.
Definitely has been.
You would have to imagine there would be a runner coming in for him if he gets on base.
The Hawks with only one extra base hit today. That was the Chris Graasso triple earlier. That was in the last inning for the Hawks. Feels like a long time ago. First pitch to Locker, takes the pitch for a strike. He jumps out of the batter's box. Upset he didn't swing at that one.
He knew it. I knew it. I think everybody really in the Prep stands and in the dugout knew that he was supposed to swing there.
0-1 to David Locker. That one goes to the backstop. 1-1. Spada today, give him credit where credit is due. He has pitched great in this contest. 7 strikeouts. He's held the Prep down to 2 runs. And we'll see if Newman-Goretti keeps him in for the full game. As Locker fouls this one off out of play. Locker making his 4th appearance this season for St. Joe's Prep. The Hawks with a lot of confidence in Locker as one of the younger guys on the team. Obviously going to contribute a lot next season with a lot of guys graduating in this talented senior class for the Hawks. Locker takes this one low, bounces off of Cerrone. It's 2-2.
As you said, that there's a lot of seniors on the St. Joe's Prep roster. But there's also a lot of good young guys on JV, on the freshman team who can, next few years, will definitely be able to compete very well at this level.
Spada takes a deep breath at the mound. Locker hits this one to second. He falls down at the plate. Throw to first is made for the second out of the inning. George Van Deen coming up for St. Joe's Prep. He's 0 for 2 today. He looks to keep the Hawks alive here as the top of the lineup will be next.
The Prep only batting .217 today. like I said, they need to be batting in the 350, 400 range to win.
First pitch to Van Deen, good framing, called for a strike. 0-1 to Van Deen. That one gets just on the outside, 1-1. Van Deen calls time at the plate. Van Deen, we talked about him as one of the best 9-hole hitters in the PCL. The Hawks today have not gotten much going with the bats. As Van Deen swings on that one, fouls it off. It's now 1-2. Graasso with 2 hits today. Ward, Keenan, and Locker each with hits as well. Van Deen swings on this one down the third base line. It just jumps foul. Newman-Goretti, they have cleaned up a lot of their fielding as well, as in the first couple of innings it was the Hawks getting on with a lot of mistakes made by the Saints, but today it has been, not today, in the past couple of innings, Newman-Goretti, they have figured it out as they have taken that 3-run lead over the Hawks. Van Deen gets hit there on the forearm, and he will get on with a hit-by pitch with Emilio Iannicone coming to the plate for St. Joe's Prep.
Good thing he's got an elbow guard on, because
Yeah.
that thing, if he didn't, he'd probably be very. Honestly, from being hit in the elbow before, it is not a fun
No,
experience.
it doesn't seem like it. Iannicone 0 for 2 today. Also got on with a hit-by pitch. Looks like there will be a mound visit here. We'll see if they pull a spotter. They don't have anybody warming up, so I highly doubt they do. Well, maybe they are, because he's shaking his head no. He doesn't want to come out of this game. Yeah, no, they'll keep him in there. Just a quick meeting there. Cerrone going back to the plate.
Looked like Coach Nardini was going to pull him, but as you said, he said that he would do it. He'd finish the inning.
Iannicone, as I mentioned, 0 for 2. Also got on with a hit-by pitch. Claps and cheers from St. Joseph's Prep as they try to get back into this game. There are 2 outs in the inning, not where you want to be if you are the Hawks. Iannicone takes the pitch for a strike.
Iannicone very upset. I mean, behind the plate, the Prep aren't really being gifted any strikes, and it seems like Newman-Goretti is getting gifted anything close.
And now Van Deen caught in a rundown. Coleman throws over to second. Van Deen, he is out. That will end the inning. Iannicone frustrated as he's going back to the dugout. Nothing seems to be going the way of St. Joe's Prep as we will go into the top of the 7th inning. One more here on WSJP. We'll be back in a few moments. One more to go on WSJP. Newman-Goretti up 5-2 over St. Joe's Prep. Van Orr swings late on the first pitch, 0-1. Matthews waves off Iannacone a couple of times. This one goes to the backstop again. That has been a problem today for St. Joe's Prep. It's allowed Newman-Goretti to get more base runners closer to home plate. Van Orr swings low on that one. 1-2. Danny Matthews trying to get out of this inning. He did let up 3 in the top of the 6th. Trying to get out of this one without any runs. The Hawks gonna have to take a lot to come back in this game, so we'll see if it can happen.
Matthews also not getting gifted anything, so he has to make us. He has to make him swing and miss.
Iannacone jumps to his right. Matthews delivers as Van Noor hits this one into left center field. Van Deen was close to it, and he makes the catch.
I mean, Van Noor hit that right on the nose. Swings a little bit harder, and that thing is maybe over the head of Van Deen. But beautiful swing nonetheless, even though it was an out.
Pellegrino now up for Newman-Goretti. First pitch, in for a strike.
That's the first strike called on the outside
Yeah,
part of the plate for the Prep all day.
Yeah, you are definitely right, Sam. Pellegrino swings to that. Actually, I apologize. Pellegrino not at the plate. There is a pinch hitter currently. Tino DiBendito up for Newman-Goretti. He is down 0-2 currently. As he swings on that one, fouls it off.
Matthews really just has to fight through this, AB. Needs to get the swing and miss stuff.
That one not called for a strike. It's 1-2. That one probably went over the plate as a ball. Creeped back in there. Later, as this one will be fouled off again. Give credit to DiBendito.
Yeah, this is a great job by DiBendito to stay alive. Down 0-2 early in the count. Doing a great job fighting him off.
That one on the outside called for a ball. 2-2. Two and two. Matthews delivers. This one hit fouled back. DiBendito coming into this game for the Saints with a .211 average and 25 plate appearances, 4 hits on the year. This one is down low, called for a ball.
That one looked like it was almost right down the middle, Ryan. I mean, maybe we're not seeing anything. Maybe Iannacone's dropping his glove after the play.
That one called for a ball low. DiBendito gets on with a walk. 4 total walks on the day for St. Joe's Prep. The Giacomo coming up to the plate with 1 out in the inning.
Ryan, that just turned into strike 3, 2 outs to a runner on first with 1 out.
Complimentary runner in for Newman-Goretti. Oh, actually will be Pellegrino nonetheless. That was who DiBendito was hitting for. So Pellegrino gets on the base nonetheless, even if he didn't at bat that time. Throw back to first. Ward not attempting to tag.
I mean, really, the only shot Matthews has is to throw it directly over the plate.
Right. Seems like the Hawks not getting a runner out on the pickoff attempt. Throw back to first again as Ward will not attempt the tag. Pellegrino cautious of the pickoff attempt from St. Joe's Prep. Matthews squinting his eyes with the sun. As we mentioned, 88 today here in South Philly. Matthews will pitch this time inside for a ball. Giacomo shaking his head no as he exits the batter's box.
Maybe looking for something different, but got a breaking ball inside.
Giacomo fouls this one back, and it was pretty much parallel to where we were. Once again, I don't like that, Sam. Not a fan. Not a fan.
All right, Chris Coleman's got us covered.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if Newman-Goretti has something against WSJP or even the prep do, as there's been a foul back here. I don't know if something happened, but this one called for a ball. 2-1. Throw back to first. Quick one from Matthews. It's a bit low. Or not attempting to tag for the third time.
Matthews really throwing to first to kind of calm himself down.
That one called for a strike. Prep fans cheering for the strike. 2-2 to the Giacomo. Matthews looks back over at first. As the Giacomo swings through that one. Strike 3. Danny Matthews strike out for him. Richie Cray up to the plate for Newman-Goretti.
Looks like he didn't want to go, but no, his body momentum took him forward. Great job by Matthews, giving him that swing and miss stuff, making him guess. And 2 outs in the inning.
Iannacone jumps to his left. First pitch outside, 1-0. Danny looking, Pellegrino back over at first. He's going to steal. Iannacone makes a quick throw down, and he is out.
What a throw by Emilio Iannacone. Absolute beauty of a throw. I mean, that was right on the line.
Hawks with a chance to come back. Top of the order up for St. Joe's Prep. 3 runs down. Can they do it? We'll find out in a few moments here on WSJP. Can the Hawks come back is the question as we are here on WSJP. St. Joe's Prep Baseball back on Friday. I'll take the trip out to D.C. with the guys as they take on St. John's at 6 p.m. Lacrosse on Saturday, 10 a.m. Myself, Anthony Sorgi on the call for that one versus Springfield at Springfield. Then on Monday, baseball at Penn Charter, 4 p.m. LJ McKnight, Ryan Connaughton on the call for that game. Top of the lineup for St. Joe's Prep. Emilio Iannacone 0 for 2 today, on with a hit by pitch. Steve Van Noor up for Newman-Goretti. Iannacone takes the second pitch for a strike. Van Noor in 3 appearances this season, a .52 ERA, has not let a lot of guys hit off him, a 196 opponent batting average. As Iannacone swings on that one, hits it to short, throw over to first, made for the first out of the inning. The Hawks 2 away from losing their undefeated PCL streak. Pat Vezza up 0 for 3 today. Has struck out all 3 times. See if Vezza can possibly get on for Chris Graasso. Van Noor pitches, puts it low, goes to the backstop, 1-0.
I mean, really, the only way the Prep can win this game is if Vezza gets on here, then Graasso, then the next guy, and then the next guy, and then the next guy. So it
That
has
would
to
be
start
nice.
right now.
That would be nice. We'll see if it happens. Vezza takes the pitch inside, 2-0. Inside again, 3-0 to Pat Vezza. Vezza, as I mentioned, 0 for 3 today, trying to get on for the first time. Next pitch to him, called for a strike.
You're right, he has gotten on base on the drop third strike earlier this game, but
Vezza hits this one straight to first, fielded cleanly by Coleman, and he'll make the tag over at first for the second out. The Hawks down to their last out, and that is Chris Graasso. 2 for 3 today with a triple and a single. We'll see if he can keep St. Joe's Prep alive. Two outs in the inning. Graasso takes the first pitch for a ball on the outside. Good framing from Cerrone behind the plate. That one dropped out of Cerrone's glove. 2-0 now. To Chris Graasso. On the outside again, 3-0. Last 3-0 count. We did see Pat Vezza ground out to first. Hopefully for Chris Graasso, same fate will not stay. 3-0 to the Miami commit. Graasso takes it for a strike. 3-1 to Chris Graasso. Van Noor 2 strikes away from getting the win for Newman-Goretti. This would drop the Hawks to 8-3 on the season and their first loss in the PCL. Graasso hits this one high. It will stay in play. Van Noor under it, and he makes the catch. Newman-Goretti defeats St. Joe's Prep. The Hawks suffer their first loss in the PCL, as they will be back on Friday against St. John's of D.C. The next PCL game for St. Joe's Prep will be next Wednesday at Archbishop Ryan. We will not have a broadcast for that here on WSJP. The next PCL game broadcast we will have for St. Joe's Prep will be on April 27th against Cardinal O'Hara. Newman-Goretti get the 5-2 win over St. Joe's Prep here at FDR Park. The Hawks suffer their first PCL loss of the season. From myself, Ryan Sullivan, my color analyst, Sam Salamone, our producer, Chris Coleman, and our cameraman, Anthony Correa, we say thank you, have a good night, and go Prep.